If I saw a ghost, I would slap up a for sale sign in front of my house, if it was in the house or wherever it was.
Fear is like a vortex, you know. The spooky stuff is like, it just kind of draws you in, and it's hard once you kind of get focused on that. Even if you're afraid of any situation, it's hard to calm yourself down.
You're not really sure if something has really actually happened or not, so you have to digest it for a long period of time before you can even put it together to share.
I'm the one who's gonna like scream and run. I'm not the one who's gonna go to the basement when I hear a noise, but these two would be like, something good's gonna happen. And down they would go.
One night we were telling ghost stories. That was very funny. We really scared each other very quickly. It all came to a head very quickly. It didn't even last 20 minutes.
We often freak ourselves out to the point where all the lights go on in the cottage before everybody goes to bed, or we decide that we have to stop talking and go to bed.
Right at 12 o'clock, the CD started skipping. Right at 12 o'clock, CD started skipping. Everyone kind of freaked out. We all had to calm down, and we all went to bed.
What if you don't think ghosts are real, but your close friends keep seeing them? Something's got to give. Hello, I'm Lawrence Chow. Today on Ghostly Encounters, we'll meet 3 lifelong friends with different opinions about ghosts, and we'll look at how they influence one another's perceptions of the spooky experiences each have had. Louise Abbott is a study in contradiction. She says she doesn't believe in ghosts, but she loves to scare herself silly with horror movies, and she is convinced that her friends Lisa Rain and Tina Dell have each come face-to-face with phantoms. Louise originally sent our researchers to Lisa and Tina. She said both had scary tales to tell, but they told us Louise has seen spirits too, if only she would acknowledge it. Despite her reluctance to go ghostly, Louise finds herself swept along on the tide of her friends' experiences, starting with a night at a lonely cottage with a pregnant Lisa and her kids.
We got up there in the evening, and it was dark by the time we got there. And we had to open the cottage, so we were a little nervous about that. We hadn't been there before in the dark, and we had to find the key, and I had like a little 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, and you know, it's kind of weird.
I'm also realizing that with 2 young children and a pregnant woman, I'm going to be the one warding off whatever, you know, porcupines or bears or people or whatever.
It was nerve-wracking for me a little bit, and Louise, because we just, you know, we're city girls going up to a cottage. I start to read the story, and I'm reading, and my daughter pushes into me quite strongly.
I was watching from the kitchen, and I saw this happen, and she's little, she's being pushed into her mother.
And I look down at her, and she looks up at me. She doesn't say anything, so I continue to read. 30 seconds later, she pushes really hard into me again. And I look down at her, and I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Someone's pushing me." So I leaned past her and I said, "Well, stop pushing her." Treating it like it's another child or whatever. But as I'm reading, I look over at the kids' heads at Louise. Louise and I were like, "Oh God."
We're both like, "Ooh." And both of us looked at each other across the room. And again, we didn't say anything because we don't want to alarm the children or anything. But she was truly, to me, and what Lisa was feeling, it looked like she was being shoved by something.
It was just some entity trying to get our attention.
I felt just a huge anxiety, and the fact that Lisa responded to it, I felt that she probably was feeling something a little more, so it was fear. For me, it was more fear than anything else. I was afraid.
Here we go. That's what I thought. Oh, great, here we go. So anyway, put the children to bed, and then I don't know what happened. We stayed up for a little while, and then I think I slept out on the couch.
Yeah, I was saying we slept very close together.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact sleeping arrangements.
Right.
But it's close.
Yeah,
that's right.
We were close together.
Lisa is on the forefront of what is commonly known as the New Age movement. Our experts would call her a proactive practitioner in the spiritual world. Tina is more passive, but she still had frightening experiences that she can't explain. She doesn't feel as in control of those situations as Lisa seems to be, and that makes her react differently than her friend. One night, the women are at Louise's Northern Ontario camp, a place they've been going to for years. Tina's night goes from disquieting to terrifying, beginning at a local restaurant.
As soon as I walked into that restaurant, I just felt I didn't know really what I was feeling, but it was odd, and I thought, oh, well, it's probably because I had left my daughter for the first time, and maybe I was just a little bit nervous about that.
The lady leaned over and sort of, I think she was between Tina and somebody else, and she said, there's ghosts. There's a ghost here that we see quite often in the restaurant. She went into this big spiel later about this woman that she sees in the restaurant.
And as soon as she said the words, I thought, why did you say that? And all of a sudden, everything changed for me at that table. I just, I kind of felt the pins and needles in my back, and I thought, okay, well, just let it go. You're here for a good time and to relax. It was your first time away from home for a long time. And I remember walking into the bathroom saying, don't attach yourself, don't talk to me, don't show yourself. If it's true and it's haunted, please go away. And it was just too late. And I remember the washroom in there being really, really small, and thinking, and I've got to get out of here. I've just got to get back to the table. When someone's following you too closely, when you're walking, you know that someone's following you too closely. That's what it feels like. And I just felt that elevator feeling, that there was someone behind me at all times throughout the whole dinner. And when we got back to the camp, it was just an uneasy feeling again, and the girls were kind of relaxing now and all that. And when I went to bed, I just was exhausted, and I thought, I just can't do this anymore. I went up to bed. And all of a sudden, through either my own imagination, every window had this face in it. She had shoulder-length, blunt cut, straight blonde hair with a straight bang. Not smiling, but not frowning, just a very solemn face. It wasn't seeing her in a individual window, it was seeing her in every window at the same time. I remember in my head saying, don't come, don't talk to me, I'm not interested, I don't want to be your friend, if you think that I'm going to see you, I'm not, and I'm just kind of warning it off, saying no thanks, but no thanks. And I thought, oh God, you're just imagining this, just close your eyes and go to bed and get out. And there was no way. There was absolutely no way. Whether it was my imagination or it was real, there was no way. I remember getting up at 5 a.m. and packing up and just heading for home.
I said to her the day later, when I talked to her later, that we should have just woken us all up.
Why did you leave me in there alone with the ghost? Was my question. Let me go back to sleep, thinking I was fine.
I think I left before everybody woke up.
Leaving me alone.
Not
telling me.
But I
didn't find that out until later.
And I hadn't told you that.
With the ghost in all the windows.
My room.
Here, pick her.
I was at the counter, and he was in the house somewhere, my husband. And I'm working, and I see this foot behind me walk by, and I thought that it was Jim, and I said, I see you there. I thought he was, sneaking up on me. And he didn't answer, so I turned around, and there was no one there, but I clearly saw a shoed foot. When we had moved in, I felt that there was always someone behind me, and specifically an older man. A few days later, my daughter, who is now 7, says, we're sitting at the table, and she said, Mommy, it feels like there's someone behind me. all the time. And she said, what does that mean? I said, maybe that there's someone here who still lives here. About 2 weeks after that, I'm again making dinner, and my